Coming up on KUJH News, the Douglas County Jail takes action to assist inmates with mental health issues. A group of KU students are fighting against rising tuition. Find out what they say is an extravagant cost impacting student fees.
And I'll have more about our cold front coming through and our drop in temperatures. KUJH News starts now.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KUJH News. I'm Grant Stevens.
And I'm Dan Garrett.
The three men who were taken into custody in connection with the triple murder on Massachusetts Street earlier this month were supposed to appear in court this afternoon, but did not. KUJH reporter Jackson Kurtz is live at the courthouse. Jackson, tell us a little bit more about what's going on.
Inside the Douglas County Courthouse, where earlier today the three men suspected in the triple murder on Massachusetts Street were expected to appear in court today, but none of which did. Anthony LaRon Roberts Jr. of Topeka was charged with 3 murders and 1 shooting. Ahmaud Rayton of Topeka is charged with 1 count of attempted second-degree murder, and Dominique McMillan charged with 1 account of aggravated assault. Now, all men were expected to have their bail set today, but none of which did. We sent out an email to the Douglas County Administrator to see any more information. Still waiting to hear a reply. I'm Jackson Kurtz in downtown Massachusetts Street, KUJH News.
Thanks for the update, Jackson. So it was pretty cold earlier this morning, and now it's warm again. Shane, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, as you can see, we have some lovely bright blue skies out, and the green grass and the color of the trees is changing. We have lost about 30 minutes of daylight so far this month, but right now it is beautiful. It is 68 degrees outside and bright blue skies with light winds out of the south and west at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now our almanac, as we look at our high today, is again 65 degrees, and that's 3 degrees above average. But for our low temperature, we reached down to 33 degrees this morning, flirting with freezing, and we actually had a wind chill of 29 degrees. We've had about 2.5 inches of rain on the month, and that'll have to last for the next week and a half. Now, I'll talk about our next cold front, how cold we will get, and our weekend freeze. Grant?
Lawrence police say the man who fled from them in a stolen pickup had 3 children with him. Police say 35-year-old Joshua D. Smith of Lawrence was the man that ran from police on Sunday, leading them on a 25-mile chase and a brief foot pursuit before they took him into custody. He now faces 3 counts of felony child endangerment and 1 count of felony theft. Police say Smith had the truck for 10 days before the chase.
Many of the crimes happening today occur because the criminals are mentally unstable. KUJH reporter Caroline Burkhardt tells us how Douglas County is working to help criminals with mental health problems get the counseling they need.
The Douglas County Jail and Burt Nash Mental Health Center started a behavioral health program in January in an effort to decrease the number of inmates.
A person goes into the program if their crime happened because of a mental health problem. Sharon Zare is a behavioral health clinician at Burt Nash. She works with the people in the program and makes sure they are eligible. But counseling is getting harder to find these days.
There's been less and less resources in the community for people with severe mental illnesses, and a lot of them are running into usually low-level criminal issues.
The 12 people currently in the program are out on bond and under supervision. They must follow through and meet certain conditions as part of their bond.
I don't know how many of those would be in jail if they weren't in court. It's hard to say, but I think it has decreased it somewhat.
The program is free to the inmates and is funded through the county.
Zara says the behavioral health court is having great outcomes with all the support and positive reinforcement. The folks in the program are making great strides. Live in the newsroom, I'm Caroline Burkhardt.
Burt Nash and Douglas County plan to get more people into the program to make sure they can get the help they need.
With Kansas City's bid for Amazon's headquarters turned in, some people in Lawrence are already thinking about what that could bring to Douglas County. Amazon predicts their proposed second campus will bring $5 billion and create 50,000 high-paying jobs in the surrounding areas. With Lawrence in commuting distance of those proposed sites, jobs could spill into Douglas County. One KU economics researcher says it would bring a large economic boost.
And those people would be bringing in very high salaries. We expect them to be paying, at least between $80,000 to $100,000 minimum. And those people will also require services, and that will lead to a business boom in that area.
Amazon will make their decision early next year and start construction in 2019.
As many students take on the ever-increasing burden of college debt, one group of friends decided to fight back. KUJH reporter Dan Garrett shows us just how these friends are trying to shed light on the university's wasteful spending.
Christian Espinoza is an in-state student and struggles to pay KU's tuition. In 2014, in-state tuition would cost around $9,000, and that has gone up to around $11,000 in 2017.
Very challenging, and it truly is a hardship for us.
So Christian and some lifelong friends formed KU Against Rising Tuition to help raise awareness to the rising costs to attend KU. They put together seminars and invite students and staff to learn about the spending habits of the university.
Both the alumni that have come out tonight and students to understand that this is a real problem. This is a problem that all students are facing.
Problems that the group feels needs to be addressed.
One of the topics discussed in tonight's meeting was the costs it takes of using KU's private jet.
The committee says that although the jet was a gift to the university, the cost of using it is the issue. They say the jet costs over $1 million per year to operate, which is double the industry average for the same jet.
We still continue to have student fees increasing and not be able to have any impact or influence with this jet.
This group of friends hopes that having these discussions will spark a change in the way the university spends its money. For KUJH, I'm Dan Garrett.
KU Against Rising Tuition's next meeting is Wednesday, November 8th at 5:30 in Woodruff Auditorium.
Well, more to come on KUJH News. This looks pretty appetizing at any time of the year, but do colder temperatures affect this ice cream shop's business in the winter months? And with only 1 acre of prairie land left on campus, one group is striving to preserve it for the future. Stay with us. Approaching, seasonal businesses prepare for the changing conditions. Local ice cream shops must adapt their business model for the cooler conditions. When the temperature drops, demand falls, so they make less ice cream and store less back in stock.
We can only hold the ice cream once it's prepared for up to 2 weeks. So if we don't go through it, it's quite a bit of money down the drain when you're having to throw it away.
Silas and Maddie's is currently reducing its supply in order to meet the new financial requirements. However, Liz makes it clear that there will still be enough ice cream to meet their customers' demands. Well, I personally like eating ice cream when it's cold. What about you, Shane?
Oh, I love it, as long as the room that I'm eating in is nice and warm. So, not outside tonight. It's going to be 48 degrees for our low, mostly clear skies, and south winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow is going to be much like today, 69 degrees, fantastic weather. The only thing you're going to notice tomorrow is a slight wind shift with our cold front. As we go out the door at 7 o'clock, we're going to start at 48 degrees and sunny skies. And we'll warm up to about 69 degrees around the lunch hour at 1 o'clock before we start to drop off later in the day. Now you will notice in the morning we have our winds out of the south, and then we have a cold front come through during the afternoon or early morning and afternoon. Now with this cold front, there's not a whole lot of cold air at first, but the winds will shift and that will start to bring our cold air down. On Saturday, we have a lovely cold front or low pressure system right here, and that will be dragging all this cold air down from the Canadian Arctic into our area, and that will give us our cold weather for Friday and Saturday before it finally starts to move out of the area on Sunday. Now as we look at our 5-day forecast, you can see on Thursday is our last really nice day before we cool down on Friday and Saturday. If you're going to the football game, I would suggest you dress warmly before we warm up nicely on Sunday and Monday. Grant?
Thanks, Shane. Did you know that KU has its very own acre of native grasses on campus? The prairie behind Blake in 20 Halls has an acre of grasses and plants native to Kansas, creating a unique ecosystem for the community. The Environmental Studies capstone class helps to restore and preserve the last patch of native tallgrass prairie on KU's campus. The student coordinator for the project says it's rare to have land like this at a research institution like KU.
Currently, university students use the Prairie as an outdoor laboratory, which is extremely unique because a lot of campuses can't say that they have a native remnant tallgrass prairie on campus that they can go to. And it's just a good way to bring community members together.
A grant through the Douglas County Community Foundation funds the project. The Prairie is open to the public 24/7.
Coming up in sports, we'll preview the football edition of the Sunflower Showdown with Kansas football head coach David Beatty and go behind enemy lines with K-State head coach Bill Snyder. That's next. Is upon us. You can almost taste it. In fact, you did taste it on Sunday when the Jayhawks took on Mizzou in an exhibition at the Sprint Center. Yesterday, Coach Self returned to the Sprint Center for Big 12 Basketball Media Day. Self did not mince words on how much his team compares to the previous bunch.
I mean, a lot of people expect this team to be really, really good, which we have a chance where we're not close now, but you know, you lose the National Player of the Year and you lose, you know, a guy that's arguably as good as anybody in the draft last year, then you know, that's a lot to replace, but somehow people are so optimistic always that we should always be better.
The next exhibition for the Jayhawks is less than a week away. They'll host Pitt State at the Phog on Halloween night. How about this? West Virginia head coach Bob Huggins stole the show with his, let's just say, interesting attire. The Mountaineers head coach is always keeping it 100. The showdown for relief might be over, but the money continues to keep rolling in. The Associated Press reports the game has raised more than $2 million for disaster relief. The charities involved include the Houston Harvey Relief Fund, the Rebuild Texas Relief Fund, the Florida Disaster Relief Fund, the Juan Yundos Puerto Rico Fund, and the Fund for the U.S. Virgin Islands. If you're still looking to donate, the links for the funds are available on KUathletics.com. The University of Kansas Athletic Department will honor former KU Hoops All-American Sharon Collins. Collins was a member of the 2008 National Championship squad. His jersey will hang in the rafters of the Phog on February 19th when the Jayhawks host Oklahoma on Big Monday. This Saturday marks the 114th football meeting between KU and K-State. KU leads the all-time series 64-45-5. Head coaches David Beatty and Bill Snyder spoke this week on their motivations for the rivalry.
This is one of those games where you can have an opportunity to make yourself a household name. One game has the potential to do that, and it's something that we don't take lightly. When we start this meeting today with our guys and our preparation for K-State, we'll take some time up front to make sure that they understand the levity of this rivalry. We were going to make darn sure that they understand how important it is, and we've got some means by which to do that.
Well, I mean, if I have to motivate them to play to play any team, then we've got some problems. You know, if a guy can't, so I was sharing with our players the other day. I mean, there's 365 days in a year, and you get to play the game 12, and if you're fortunate, 13 times. I mean, that's 13 out at best. That's 13 out of 365 days that you really get a chance to do the thing that you love doing. And, that, to me, that ought to be the motivation to do it.
The 11th-ranked Kansas volleyball squad opens up the second half of Big 12 play tonight at home against Oklahoma. The Jayhawks have won their last 6 matchups against the Sooners. KU has also won 26 of their last 28 Big 12 contests. The Jayhawks are coming off back-to-back sweeps in which they held opponents to a combined .096 hitting percentage. The matchup with OU begins tonight at 6:30 from Horja. And that's your sports for today, boys.
Thanks, Tyler. Well, hopefully the Jayhawks can keep it up. Well, I don't know about you guys, but after that win over Mizzou basketball this past weekend, I couldn't stop smiling like this dog. Cheese and Cheech was living at Waller Animal Shelter in Rescue in Texas until his $1 million smile went viral on Facebook. People have shared his pictures more than 3,000 times and landed him a new home. He definitely has nothing but smiles from now on.
That's crazy. I don't know how you would even train a dog to do that. Like, I don't know how you go about that.
He smiles like this guy.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, can you do your best dog impression? Smile.
I guess that's my best one.
I think he was showing a lot more teeth.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I love dogs.
Yeah, me too. They're a lot better than cats,
Dogs
honestly.
are better than cats. Cats are the devil.
Oh, man. See, well, I'm a cat guy myself, so I guess I'm being ganged up
I
on
think
both
that
sides
says
here.
more about you than any of us.
It
Yeah.
really might.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't like cats as much. They're pretty much up to their own rules when it comes to that kind of thing, so.
That's my favorite part. You can't train them. They're unpredictable, spontaneous.
Why would you want that?
Because it's exciting. That's variety is the spice
How
of
come
life.
cats can't figure out how to use the dog door? You know, like you take a freaking litter box, but you can't use it to go outside.
They can sometimes. They just don't like to. They don't want to.
That's frustrating. That's wasting a lot of money using all that litter. You know, I mean, like, come on, let's get out of here. You know,
My roommate's cat likes to knock all of my cups off my desk in the middle of the night, and it freaks me out, and I don't understand why he does that.
Every move you make.
But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us.
Tune into the next That's Friday at 3.
Have a good night.